Milk and Cookies, episode 1.
Episode 1.
But the cookies is shit. I think that like you said, that there's a huge difference between it going from being a weekly event where it was appointment television. I think there's something to be said about monoculture, where people have things like the water cooler conversations, did you see that game, or oh my God, did you see that shot, or oh my God, did you see that pass? Those things matter immensely, particularly in terms of cultural discussions. And we don't really have a lot of things that give us those moments. Sports is uniquely one of those experiences, and we haven't had those because of a global pandemic. So everybody's been stuck at home. And when this documentary started to air, it wasn't even supposed to air when it started. It was supposed to air a couple months later.
Oh, really?
But they moved it up because everybody was stuck at home and people needed something to watch. So everybody was like, who is one of the greatest figures in sports history? Michael Jordan. Let's air this documentary that we've had and have been working on, and we're planning on airing a couple months later. So if you'll notice in the last maybe 2 episodes, they were putting those together as they were coming out. If that makes any sense. Yeah. They weren't done. They weren't done until like the week that they came out. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yes, that is insane.
That's a documentary because that's so much footage.
I don't think this is a documentary.
Yeah, we talked about. Okay, why do you say that?
This is. I believe that this is just as much propaganda as it is documentary. I think that shout out to Bill Simmons when they started the 30 for 30 franchise.
Yeah.
They launched this idea of writing great stories and revisiting favorite moments in sports history through the lens of a documentary. 30 for 30. If you ever have an opportunity, watch a bunch of 30 for 30s because they're all great. Even if you're not interested in the sport, they're all very interesting. You said what?
I think the Magic one, is that the one where they talked about Shaq?
Yes, there is one about Shaq and Penny. There's one about Ric Flair. There's a bunch of them.
Totally watch that.
Yes, you need to watch the Ric Flair one. It's great.
Yeah.
30 for 30 is great. This is from the school of 30 for 30, but what makes this unique is that Michael Jordan had approval over all of these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so he was basically making a movie about himself, like.
Right.
Oh, this is
how can you have a documentary when the subject is the producer?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's all about the Jordan brand. I mean, that's what he lives and breathes. He doesn't have that
maybe
competitive outlet anymore.
Maybe. I heard him do an interview once where he said that he felt a way because kids now know him more for the crying memes and for his shoes than they do for his games.
I mean, I would feel the way too, but
I have to feel like that is part of the reason why this came out. Think about how long they've had this. They filmed this the last year where he was on the Bulls. That was in 98.
Yeah, you're right.
This footage has been around since 1998.
So why do you think they sat on it? Just to like revamp his image later on when they knew he got old and shit?
I think he saw it and he realized that it didn't make him look like a god. It made him look petty and mean. And if you're this mythical figure where little white kids like you, like Mike commercials. There's a movie where Lil Bow Wow is like found some shoes, and he's an orphan and became an NBA player.
It's always so
called
funny
Like
to me when,
Mike. Space Jam.
I find out that girls
all
like,
those things.
fresh as Lil Bow Wow. I'm like, really? That's so funny to me.
Everybody like Lil Bow Wow, bro. Everybody like Lil Bow Wow. You need to quit hating, bro. That Beware a Dog album was classic.
Space Jam was a superior Michael Jordan movie.
All I want to do is see you bounce at me.
I just had that to say about
it. But really think about this.
Okay.
If your entire image is built around being wholesome,
a role model, right? Which is kind of
a role model, singularly focused, goal oriented, and an ubermensch, so to speak. Mensch.
What's
like
that?
Best guy ever, ubermensch.
Okay.
Good guy. That's a good guy, right?
Yeah,
there.
good guy.
Yeah. That's what Michael Jordan was. If this documentary came out in 2002, he'd look like a dick. He would look like a dick. There were videos of him calling Horace Grant the F word that rhymes with maggot. That would affect shoe sales, bro. There's videos of him punching Steve Kerr in the face that they cut out of this documentary. And they just talked about it. He punched Steve Kerr in the face. I
respect Steve Kerr more, but that's because I didn't know much about him, and that story was like a cool story about him.
So that's another thing. Steve Kerr wasn't a great basketball player. He was a role player.
Yeah. But he's relevant in today's world, and that's why he was such a feature part of it because he's the coach. Right?
Exactly. He's a coach. He's a coach. He's a coach of one of the greatest teams ever. And so because he's a coach of one of the greatest teams ever, he becomes this focal point of this so-called documentary. This is not a documentary. I believe that this is like propaganda to feed the sports addiction of people during the moment when they needed it the most. That's what I think of this. And we haven't even gotten into it.
Did you find it entertaining?
Fuck yeah, definitely. I definitely found it entertaining.
Jordan.
Found it so entertaining.
Right. Jordan,
My takeaways. Scottie Pippen looked terrible.
After this conversation, would you watch it? Would you want to watch the show?
What?
Yeah.
You're asking me?
Okay, I'm asking Jordan.
It's an entertaining show.
He said it sounds like it's an entertaining show.
It is definitely an entertaining show. It's such an entertaining show. Like, propaganda can be entertaining though. You feel me?
It's funny to see footage of somebody like you've kind of like you feel like you've known, and then see them do different kind of things. Yeah. It's just like funny. Yeah.
No, man. This is not something that shows you Michael Jordan's faults. Does that make sense?
I would say it kind of does.
Which faults?
Okay, I mean, it talks about his gambling, the way he mistreated people on occasion. It doesn't show them as expositorily as we might need, but it definitely showed them. It wasn't the same propaganda as like from the 90s of him on like sweating Gatorade and shit.
Yo, you said it showed his gambling, right?
It talked about it. It wasn't
talked about his gambling. Yet they let him get away with that bullshit ass pizza story. Right?
I'm out of the pizza story.
Yo.
I've been thinking about it.
No. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that shit. Let's talk about that shit right the fuck now. What's the pizza story? What is the pizza story?
I'll tell it, and then you can tell me what you think. So basically, do you know about the flu game, Jordan?
Yeah.
So in the documentary, he claims that he was poisoned. on some pizza that he delivered or had delivered to his hotel the night before. So he thinks that the pizza guys in that town, because they were playing in a away game, right? And so at the town they were playing
in Utah.
Okay, so Demetrius, and I honestly, I don't have that big of an opinion, but Demetrius feels that that's a straight up lie, full-faced lie.
It is a fucking lie.
Upset. He took it.
It's a lie.
Demetrius,
it is a lie.
He took it personal.
Nothing about it sounds true, and I feel personally insulted by it.
I'm gonna insert the clip of Michael Jordan being like, "I took it personal."
Yo, check this out. The motherfucker said, we called, there was nobody open. We ordered a pizza. Everybody on my staff had already eaten, so they didn't eat the pizza. And then I got it and I spit on it so they couldn't eat any of it. And I ate all of it by myself. And then I got food poisoning. That's his story. That sounds like a crock of shit. Here's why it sounds like a crock of shit. You can't play basketball with food poisoning. You would shit yourself. Have you ever had food poisoning?
Yeah, but I just remember throwing up all night. I wasn't like on the court.
Did you play basketball?
No, I didn't.
Did you do any active shit?
Not really. I
feel like you could just like run for 40 minutes?
Nah. I can barely do that.
Because food poisoning means you have intestinal distress. There's no way he wouldn't shit himself if he had food poisoning. Paul Pierce shit himself during a game. That's a real thing. He shit himself. They took him out of the game on a wheelchair so that nobody would notice that he shit himself. And then back in the game after he changed and washed his ass. He shit himself.
But he got back. Okay.
Yes, he came back, but he had to wash his ass off. There's no way. There's no fucking way.
Why would he make that up?
Huh?
Why would he make that up?
Because he didn't want people to know that he was a drunk piece of shit.
Oh, okay. So he thinks
That's what I think.
That he got drunk, that he was hungover. Michael Jordan, and that's true. Why would I even bring attention to that in the documentary about my life? Like
because what makes somebody great is legendary moments. Okay. What makes Michael Jordan, this mythical figure, is the 60 points he put on Larry Bird's ass in the Boston Garden. What makes Michael Jordan is jumping from the free throw line. What makes Michael Jordan is winning Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same year. What makes him Michael Jordan is the flu game.
So why would, I mean, I guess it's cool that he brings it up in the documentary, but then he adds like a whole remix on it, like.
Because nobody believed that flu shit. Nobody believed that flu shit.
Nobody did?
Nobody believes it.
Nobody believes it.
You can't play basketball with the flu. You cannot play basketball with the flu.
Michael Jordan.
No, nobody believes that shit. Nobody.
And then, okay, so he was drunk.
That's what I think. I think this.
Man,
I can't prove it. Yeah. I can't prove it.
All right, man.
But I do remember watching that game and seeing him throwing up on the sidelines.
Oh, for real?
And
did you think he was drunk?
I mean, I was an 8-year-old. But, I can't fucking do.
I mean, I'm just
like, oh, that man is drunk. This is a drunk man. Says the 8-year-old.
That's how I be.
This man is drunk.
Nah.
No, I was an 8-year-old. But like in hindsight, I'm just like, yo, this nigga did not have the flu. You can't have the flu and play basketball, bro.
Scottie Pippen had that one game where he had like a migraine or some shit, right?
I believe that.
You believe that though, because just based off his character or whatever.
Because you can't play basketball with a migraine. Have you ever had a migraine?
Yeah, I had a migraine.
Yeah, you can't. It's debilitating.
You
can't play basketball with a migraine.
You don't think that was a hangover?
No, I think he had a migraine.
Okay.
Pippen. If we're talking about Scottie Pippen during the Pistons game, right? That's what you're talking about. Where they lost to the Pistons, and Jordan was pissed, and he was like, he thought Scottie Pippen was kind of a bitch because he had a migraine.
I don't remember what game or what team. I remember it was on episode 2.
They're playing the. I'm telling you. They're playing the Pistons.
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen had a migraine, and what made it meaningful is that Jordan couldn't get past the Pistons. It was like playing a video game and it being like that boss that you can't beat. That was the Pistons for Michael Jordan. And Scottie Pippen was there, and Michael Jordan was like, "Oh, I'm about to bust y'all ass. I got the missing ingredient, and now y'all can't fuck with me." And then Scottie Pippen got migraines, and then they lost.
But he wasn't drinking.
I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't drinking, but I do believe that it's possible that he got a migraine and couldn't play the game.
I believe him because I believe Scottie Pippen before Michael Jordan.
Yes, I definitely believe Scottie Pippen before Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan seems like a lying snake of a person.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen seems like an honest person, like the shit he put up with.
Yes.
But anyways,
I agree.
Let's go over. Let's go.
Okay.
Not respect to Jordan. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would have to say, I think he just
Come on, get in here. Get in here. we can see you.
All right. Phil Jackson just got 2 of the greatest players of all time. Kobe.
Okay.
Michael Jordan. All right.
He got 3 of the greatest players of all time. He had Shaq, bro.
Shaq.
He had Shaq.
Dude. Yeah, right. So compared to, I don't know, Spurs coach maybe.
Greg Popovich, GOAT, the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah. Compared to Pop, dude, Pop was able to use players that were amazing at doing like certain jobs, and he just like helped them each play really great roles.
Yeah.
Whereas Phil Jackson, he just got 3 of the best players.
An inheritance.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson had an inheritance.
Yeah.
To that, I would say Phil Jackson is a pimp.
You don't really like him that much, huh?
I hate Phil Jackson.
Okay.
But I can respect game.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean when I say I can respect game, it's not easy to manage personalities. Phil Jackson was a man who was able to manage not just personalities, but extremely difficult personalities. I believe that Michael Jordan is probably a piece of shit.
You're cutting off. Hold on.
God rest his dead. I believe that Kobe Bryant was probably really.
Excuse me, sorry.
Is that what?
Oh, you're good. You were cutting off for like a second.
You're cutting off for a second.
Okay. I believe that Michael Jordan was a piece of shit. I believe that Kobe Bryant, even RIP, was probably really difficult to deal with. And as I watch Shaq, even on TNT, he seems like a very difficult diva-esque type of person. And if you're able to take all of these people, manage these personalities and get them to buy into not just a system, but an idea of relying upon your teammates towards a common goal, that is a talent. But I also think it's pimping. I think it's pimping. I think it's like being a cult leader. You said what?
Obviously, I stepped out for a second, so I didn't hear. But you think that like getting people to like work together as a team is pimping? That's kind of what I heard. I
think that Phil Jackson's way of getting people to work as a team is pimping. The reason why I think that it specifically is pimping is you saw how he was talking about the way that he was able to motivate Dennis Rodman, how he was like, yeah, you're in the Native Americans and shit, right? Yeah, me too. I like that shit where they were talking about how like the cat that likes to walk backwards is just a different motherfucker. I think you're a different motherfucker, bro. Hey, get out there and suck some dick and make us some money. That's pimping.
But he was playing basketball. It wasn't sucking dick.
Was Dennis Rodman great at basketball, or was he just like great at effort? Dennis Rodman's not great at basketball.
Yeah,
he was great at effort. Dennis Rodman just tried harder than everybody else. And I think that if you're a good pimp, you're basically a motivational speaker. What's the difference between a pimp and a motivational speaker?
I guess what they're motivating you to do.
Because
I'm with you. I personally I know what he means by he's got these cultish tendencies, but I kind of like him. Like he's like Steve Jobs.
Cut out.
Oh, cut out.
Yeah. Say that again.
I was saying I get what you're saying because like I see it, but I also like Phil Jackson. He's like the Steve Jobs of like basketball coaching, and like the worst he did was get some, basketball playing, and it's like not that bad to me. So
I don't think Phil Jackson is worthless as a coach. I just think he's not special.
Oh, okay.
You inherited literally some of the greatest players ever.
Okay.
Like you have 3 of the top 10 greatest players ever. 3. You had 3 of them.
Right.
One of them was Michael fucking Jordan. That's the number 1.
The only thing I can say to that is he was given something great, but what you do with that is it's not a small thing. And so I think
who else has been given that?
But why?
Nobody else has been given that in the entirety of basketball history. Nobody else has been given that. 3 top 10 guys. 3.
You could say
3.
The Celtics coach almost got there. Like those players were almost at that level.
When?
Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen.
All the motherfuckers were old. No.
Yeah. Okay. At one time, they were in the top tier.
They were at one time. Yeah. But when they decided to join forces, they were all they were in the twilight of their career. They were at if we're talking about careers as a day, they're around 2 or 3 p.m.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Okay.
All of them except Rondo. Rondo is new.
All right. I want to know who you think is the worst coach out of
Ray Allen he got game in the 90s.
Yeah. I want to know
out of who?
Out of any coaches that have had super teams. So that's Warriors, Celtics.
Mike D'Antoni.
He was quick with it.
He's the worst. He had Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire couldn't make it to the finals. He had Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith in a pretty decent fucking Knicks team couldn't make it to the finals. He had James Harden and Chris Paul couldn't make it to the finals. Mike D'Antoni. He's an innovator, but he fucking sucks.
Have you watched Game of Zones?
Yes, I love Game of Zones. I love Game of Zones. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Fucking Mike D'Antoni is Walder Frey. He's a Frey. He's House Frey. That is who he is. Yeah. He's just this old-fashioned guy with a bunch of really good ideas that can't evolve. He's a dinosaur. Oh. And I know that sounds shocking because Mike D'Antoni is kind of the innovator of the modern NBA offense, but he can't coach defense. He can't change his offensive strategy when his shit's not working, and that's why he can't win a title. He's easy to scheme against. And that's how he always loses. So if I'm talking about who's the worst out of the elite coaches, it's D'Antoni. Definitely D'Antoni.
Yo, so where's basketball at right now? I mean, I'm not caught up with that. So, like, I know they're going to Vegas. When is that?
They're in Orlando.
Yeah, they're going to Orlando, then.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up?
Orlando. The season is supposed to start again next week.
No way. People aren't going to the games, right?
Huh?
People aren't going to be watching?
So people can watch, but like no crowds, no audience at the game. They have every team. There's 22 teams that they took to Orlando. 8 games for each of those teams. And those are basically like refreshers or exhibitions in order to get them back into game shape. And then it's going to go right into the playoffs. I have such mixed feelings about this. I believe that there's no way this can end well, but I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the shit out of it. But there's no way it can end well. Like, y'all are in Florida where all the bad things happen. Everything bad ever happens in Florida. Literally all of the virus is in Florida, like right now.
Who do you think's
like,
going to win?
all of it. Huh?
Who do you think will win?
Beginning of the year, I picked the Sixers. Still riding with the Sixers.
Dang, man. So this is gonna be when is it? When is the championship?
Probably October. Based on this schedule, it's October.
I'm gonna say Lakers, man.
Why do you say Sixers? They got Kawhi, right?
No.
Clippers got Kawhi.
Yeah, Clippers.
Clippers have Kawhi. I don't think it's going to be the Lakers because they don't have Avery Bradley, and Rondo broke his thumb.
Doing what, bro?
Huh?
Doing what, man? Like
practice. He broke his thumb in practice. He broke his thumb in practice.
I know he was like hulked out.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter if you got a team full of goobers.
I know that.
Like fucking J.R. Smith is on his team and he's a goober.
When's he playing?
Fucking Deion Waiters is on his team and he's a goober.
Yo, did you see Harden with the mask?
Yeah. I don't blame him for that. I didn't know what that was.
I was mad at him because I read that he doesn't have internet. I'm like, that's just kind of funny that James Harden.
I mean,
internet.
Yo, I have internet, and like my wife showed me that shit. She was like, "Yo, you see a boy James Harden with the Blue Lives Matter mask?" I was like, "That's what that is." I didn't know what that was. I straight up didn't know what it was, bro.
I like James Harden. I think
so. I thought it was just some Crip shit. I was like, yo, he's from California, so he's probably just like out here cripping or some shit. Yo, that's not so outrageous. Russell Westbrook had 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists on the night that Nipsey Hussle died because of rolling 60s. Crips. So that's not so outrageous. That's not outrageous.
It's crazy.
Fucking his coach tried to take him out. Fucking Billy Donovan was like, yo, do you want to come out? He was like, nah. And then after he got his 20th rebound, he's like, that's for Nipsey. Dang. 60s. His stat line added up to 60s. So that's why I was like, you know what? Sometimes motherfuckers be on some fucking crippin' ass shit. That's not so outrageous.
Oh.
That's what I thought it was. But apparently it's about the police.
Snoop was just talking about Crips on that thing you showed, man.
You said what?
Snoop was just talking about Crips on the verses with Homeboy DMX.
Because he said Homeboy. I feel so disrespected.
He really likes DMX. Is that your favorite? Or is it Rakim?
Yo.
You told me. The way I feel about DMX is like, all right.
That was my first favorite rapper. But I feel you. All right.
All right.
But is it so out of the realm of possibility that in a world of symbolic interactionism that some people don't know what certain symbols mean? I think that it's kind of wrong to crucify James Harden for something as innocuous
Is it that bad?
fuck
Are they
ass
really doing him that dirty?
Yeah, man. Like,
Really?
fucking read the room.
Why? I mean, on one hand, like, yeah, but on the other hand, it's like, you can tell he didn't mean this. There's more important shit going on, is how I feel like.
I mean, I agree with you.
Like, come on.
I agree
bro.
with you.
Let's not do that.
I agree with you. But at the same time, when everybody's stuck at home
Yeah, I know.
and also pissed, and also 40 million people are out of work, perhaps people get pissed off about James Harden's mask. So much so that we're having a conversation about
I
it.
need to talk about his hairline.
You feel me?
Yeah, okay.
You said who? James Harden? Bro, everybody like
is about it also.
You'll notice one of the first things that they got in the bubble, in that Orlando bubble, was barbershops. They got to keep them lineups crispy. I'll tell you one thing I'll tell you one reason why I feel like that this bubble is not going to work. Unless y'all got like actual prostitutes, this is not going to work.